You're welcome back. The Southeast Vision 2050 Stakeholders Forum kicked off yesterday in Enugu, bringing together investors, government officials, business leaders, captains of industry, policymakers, development partners, our royal fathers, and even women groups, people who are genuinely interested in the future of the region. There were resource persons across key sectors: agriculture, security, infrastructure, trade, and human capital. And at the heart of Vision 2050 is one clear idea: the Southeast cannot continue to grow in isolation. This is a collaborative effort involving the Office of the Vice President, the Ministry of Regional Development, and Southeast state governors, all pushing for regional cooperation rather than fragmented state-by-state action. The argument is simple: when every state works alone, the region loses scale, influence, and momentum. And that fragmentation is a major reason the Southeast has struggled to move forward as a bloc. To analyze yesterday's conversation and also bring us up to speed to what to expect today, because it's an ongoing conversation. The conference is a 4-day event. I have in the studio Mr. Alex Obodo, his head of news and public affairs, Afia Television. Mr. Alex, good morning.
Thank you, Norma.
Yes. This is shared vision for the Southeast 2050.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, it's the first time it's happening.
Yeah.
You know, the Southeast came onto the scene a little late in terms of getting their own development commission.
Okay.
And for some time now, everybody's been asking the question, when will the Southeast Development Commission really hit the ground running? So this event,
yes,
which is something more like having an Ohaneze meeting, but I don't want everybody to mix it up with the Ohaneze and Igbo thing, but they try to open up their doors to accept conversations, contributions, suggestions on how to forge a common front for the development of Southeast. And that's why it's a stakeholders forum.
Yeah.
So, because yesterday, if you were there, in fact, the event ended while I was on my show yesterday at 7 p.m.
I was going to ask the turnout.
So because this will tell you the sheer importance of this event. Some people they think it's just for formality, but it's something really important. But, but I noticed that people kept talking about the fact that Southeast has the potential to break out and really fight for itself.
Yeah, so I was not at the event, but I was watching. So people can actually watch this. If you get the link, you go on their website, you can watch this. And I could hear a lot of people speak with passion. You could see that people are really interested in getting the Southeast to the next level. But let's talk about the turnout. It got to a point, it's still decreasing. But yeah, we still have people there. What would you say?
No, because what you noticed was that some of the persons, there were breakout sessions.
Yeah, okay.
So from about 2 p.m., you had the breakout sessions where some people stayed in the main auditorium. Some people went to the dome. For instance, the sports panel went to the dome, where Victor Anichebe was also facilitating, and some other persons stayed back. So that accounted for the fluctuating number you are seeing in the main auditorium.
Okay, so let's get to the nitty-gritty of this. The reason why this conference was put together, shared vision for the Southeast. Do you think fragmentation is our problem in the Southeast? That's the reason we have not upscaled.
Okay, I think to address the Igbo challenge, we need to also just look at a number of things. Igbo majorly will want to be individualistic in their approach to development. Someone will tell you, nobody believes that another man can control him. It's a lot here. When indirect rule was introduced in Nigeria by the colonialists, it didn't work here very well, because already we don't agree that anybody can control us. It's something that's been there for centuries, but we know that it is possible that if we eventually decide to sit down and discuss, something nice will come up. And that's the whole essence of what started yesterday by the Southeast Development Commission led by Mark Okoye.
Yes, and it's for this government. Do you think this particular commission has longevity? Does it have a template that would get into subsequent governments?
Yes. I
Is
mean,
it
it's a
created?
commission.
Yeah.
It's a product of the constitution.
And so subsequent government will key in.
Yeah, they will key in because it's now every region has their own development commission.
Okay.
You have even the Northeast Development Commission, Southwest Development Commission, you have the South Development Commission, or Niger Delta Development Commission, as it were, and now Southeast has their own.
Okay.
But the difference is that it looks like in all that setup, the Southeast seem to be more vociferous in the demands they are making of their own commission. I mean, if you read a lot of the comments on X, some people believe there's been a lot of talk, that they want to see action.
Okay.
But then you need to talk, especially for this kind of thing, you need a lot of engagement to understand what you do. So not when you start implementing something, somebody will now come and start complaining. They didn't even deem it fit to ask us what we want. So because the conversations about rail line, power, industrialization, it seemed to be higher in the pecking order. So anybody that's been following the conversation will know that the people of the Southeast want something that will help them to move around. And in moving around, you also need something that can support movement of goods.
Yes.
Because you see someone who wants to go to Lagos, just imagine that there's a rail line from Southeast to Lagos. But then you can't achieve that if you are not interconnected already by rail. Imagine there's an interconnection by rail for all the capitals or major cities of Southeast. So what that does is that at the outlay out there in Onitsha,
yes,
you have another one heading to Lagos. Already there's a rail line heading to the north. But the whole analysis, Dr. Koike Chukwu, during his presentation yesterday afternoon, talked about the fact that if you look at Nigeria, you don't find rail lines going in this direction. The rail lines are either moving up or moving down. They're not
around the trade corridors.
You don't have any movements across. You just have movements from top to bottom. Imagine that there's a rail line from Abakaliki to Onitsha. Nobody is considering that, but there's a lot of trade volume exchanged almost on a daily basis between Abakaliki and Onitsha, between Nsukka and Onitsha. So, but then you need to have a proper corridor that people who deal with various services and goods will have the ability to move them. And there was also another talk about if you have a rail line from Onitsha to an airport, do you know what it will do for all the traders? So as your good is landing, they just load it into the rail and it comes directly to those who own those goods in Onitsha. So there are no lack of ideas here. We just need a lot of purpose for the implementation.
Okay, so let's touch on one of the major issues that was brought up there at the conference yesterday and was actually the final conversation for yesterday. That was insecurity and the economic impact it has on the Southeast. And one of the stakeholders said something that in as much as years we have been talking about insecurity here in the Southeast, doing bringing different mechanisms for security and stuff, we have not yet scratched the surface, the main reason for the insecurity. And he had to put an example rather from 2020, 2021. We didn't have that issue of insecurity until when the non-state actors came. And still yet government has not yet confronted this insecurity from that part. So what do you think about this? Do you think he's right? And no matter what the government they are doing, what they are putting, public-private partnership for insecurity, that we would never get it right until we confront the main...
I think this has moved beyond the issue of right or wrong. There's a lot of emotion on either side. First of all, how did the non-state actors gain upper hand? Because there were gaps. We were supposed to have a government in place in Southeast Nigeria at that time. What were they doing? How did it come about? Because it's always good to take a look at how it happened. One, there were conversations about setting up a regional security outfit. Maybe to be called a Bubago or whatever. But the Southeast did not. They did not do that in good time. And it was refusal of the governors of the Southeast to do that that created the gap, and the non-state actors were emboldened to now set up what they believed will be the security outfit for the Southeast. That was how ESN came. And ESN, because they are armed, became a bit confrontational. And then naturally, of course, law enforcement agencies do not recognize ESN because they are not a product of the government. They are not licensed by government. So I lay the blame squarely on the table of those who were governors when all these things set in. Those who were governors when the Southeast had the opportunity to have a joint security apparatus, just like we have in the West, with Amoteku. So they refused to pronounce theirs. I don't know, just for whatever reason. And now we're coming to hear that the reason was some of the governors, because of their political ambition, they did not want to appear like they are daring the center. But it now became costly because lives have been lost. And the kind of fear it has spread within the eastern homeland is now something that cannot be erased. The scar is still there. Even if it disappears, the scar will still be there.
Okay, you just spoke about the center. And we are expecting the Vice President of the Federation here in Enugu today. I know if he's here, that will definitely be updated here in the studio. Okay, so what do you think would be the role of the federal government positioning itself to play in Southeast regional development?
Yeah, I mean, all the commissions have their budgetary allocations. Whether you like the size of the budget or not, you have to make do with it. I think at this level, there's a lot of ideation going on. But I mean, remember, too, that you have your state governors. One thing I find confusing, especially when I read the comments people make online, I'm asking myself, these people that make these comments, what is motivating those comments?
What comments exactly?
Yeah, you see somebody who just come and say, all they know is how to talk. They will never do something. You just get that sense that a lot of people out there don't believe that anyone in authority can do anything right. So why do you worry then? Because I see these comments, someone from somewhere just writes something and people are sharing it. Because somebody just randomly says, the Southeast Development Commission will just knows how to talk. How? They just came on board. They have to engage. They have to find out what most people in the Southeast want. Because if you don't do that and you start implementing what you feel they want, they will still come to that social media and start insulting you and saying, you did not even ask us. Some people are saying that they shouldn't ask anything. Just go and start doing. We want to see something.
Okay.
But the whole thing is that even if you don't have all the budget, start something after you have established what it is you need to do. And that's why this stakeholders engagement is going on.
Yeah, because you know I was going to ask about the implementation apart from the talking, but let's get to this other part, right? Okay, let's get to the implementation first. When do you think that people will start getting committed to this?
Yeah, I mean, in this, you know that they have to compile every idea that is compilable. People are suggesting different things, but some are actually making some of their submissions out of emotion. I listen to a lot of things that should just be for a radio program. I mean, if you are coming for that kind of stakeholders engagement at that level, you have to articulate what can help the region instead of just coming to talk about your community. Some people are just obsessed with having to either talk about themselves or to talk about their community. While that is good, at the level SEDC is operating is regional. And that's one point people who are trying to engage SEDC should have at the back of their minds. You can't engage SEDC thinking that SEDC will deal with you as a person. Okay, come and take tea. No, that's not their job. Their job is to complement what the state governments already in place in the Southeast are doing. They haven't come here to replace it or to replace the governments. And I see I go back to comments I see, those guys writing those things do not have an idea on the terms of reference of SCDC. They should go to their website and read their terms of reference. They cannot overstep. There are things they cannot undertake because the state governments are supposed to undertake those things. SCDC are supposed to undertake projects that will have regional impact. Not if you come to Enugu, okay, let's do borehole for Enugu. While that is okay, it needs to have a regional effect.
Yeah, you have seen the document for this, the Southeast Vision 2050, the document that they had to share to the stakeholders. Do you think that everything that we have or we encounter in the Southeast as a problem was listed there, or is it short of something?
No, you see, there's a song, it's a problem, they finish. So there will always be something to solve. And this whole thinking, because we now have Southeast Development Commission, that all our problems will go away. No. There are challenges that will remain before us just to keep us motivated. And Southeast Development Commission is here to deal with the things they can. They can't deal with everything. And, it has to be batch by batch. Looking at their budget, there's no way they can attempt to do everything at the same time.
Okay. We have resource people who speak on agriculture, sport, and different sectors. Which of them really spoke to you?
Yeah, I mean, if you...
Not personally, but really you could actually you could say, yes, I really understand this person. What this person is saying is so solution inclined.
No, I mean... I love everything I've heard yesterday.
Everything.
But let me just say this.
Yes.
I've been hearing those things before.
Okay.
And yesterday I had someone in the studio on the Eastern Eye. We're talking about agriculture. How agriculture can become a business. Because a lot of people look at agriculture with the eyes of their ancestors, having to till the ground. But except you start taking a look at agriculture as something that is a business, you may not be able to scale. So at the end of the day, there will be a lot to say. If you ask people to come and present paper on how we can have cleaner air, you get a lot of good presentations on that.
Okay.
If you want anything on sports, we'll have a lot of sports icons. Yesterday, it was Victor Anichebe, former Super Eagles player, that was talking. A lot of people spoke on agriculture and, talked about... There was one man that, I've forgotten his name now, but he was talking about having storage facilities at the farms.
Actually, it's not the commissioner.
No, it's not. Okay. It's not the commissioner. Because some of the farms will need cold rooms to store some of the produce, some of the seedlings. Because if you can't store, then you will lose the seedlings. And again, off-taking is a key part of the agri value chain. Imagine that you ask everybody in Enugu to cultivate rice.
Okay.
And after they cultivate the rice, nobody is coming to buy the rice. Do you know what that means? All that rice might go bad if they are not properly off-taken. So it's not enough to ask people to plant cassava. Who will buy them? Because cassava has a value chain. Apart from the cassava fufu that people eat here,
yes.
And then you have starch.
Yes.
You have ethanol that can come from it. And sometimes you can also be used in feed. But that's the value chain. But except you have those that can actually convert that cassava to those things, it wouldn't make sense to call on people to go and start cultivating cassava. That's the point I'm making. Mm-hmm. If you want to produce a car, you need to have the technological base to produce it. Other than that, you may just be wishing that you want to produce a car. Okay. Before any country can produce an aeroplane, they will have to have the technological base to do so. There will need to be a technological base to deal with everything we are listing that we want to do. If you want to do rail line, yes. Where is the feasibility study? Everybody wants a rail line. I want to see rail lines. Where will it connect to? Is it from which city to which city? If you want it to be a ring rail line, okay. How will it be? We need to see the design, because all this will help to spark the mind. How will it work best? From what point should it link to Lagos, Onitsha? But it will go around to all the southeast cities, all right? Okay. So when you finish, it heads to Onitsha and then off to Lagos. Because my thought, when the second Niger Bridge was coming, I was thinking that there should have been a rail track on that. I think we missed that opportunity. I don't know that one day we were designing that, nobody made an input for something that came at the time it came. Okay. Imagine that a rail line was in the middle of that of that bridge.
Yes.
I mean, it would have made sense. I mean, because now it would mean that if you want a rail line from Onitsha to Lagos, you will have to do another bridge. My thought is that it was a missed opportunity with the second Niger bridge. And anyone who understands how transportation works will know that we missed that opportunity. But there is no reason.
Okay.
There is no reason that second Niger bridge that they shouldn't have factored in a rail line. Imagine that they did. Every other conversation you are having about routing a rail line from Onitsha to Lagos would have been a simple matter, because the moment you hit the land,
yes,
the other things are easy. But you need to really have a bridge. But now the bridge was not constructed to have a rail line, because, you know, the train moves with a different kind of vibration.
Yes.
So if you need a rail line from Onitsha to Lagos, you will need to do another bridge.
Okay.
And, you know, before the second Niger bridge came,
yes,
it took a lot of, let me put it this way, it took a lot of fasting and prayer, crying and gnashing of teeth before it came. And all the successive presidential candidates who later became president of Nigeria were using it to campaign. If you vote for me, we'll do a second Niger bridge.
Oh.
So here's my talk.
Yeah.
Now, here's my suggestion. Whoever wants to be president will give us a rail line to Lagos. And I understand that we have a signal from ICC.
Okay.
So,
all right, so we have to cross over to the conference center, the Southeast Vision 250, and see what's happening there.